Oh, the old rack is looking a bit depleted at the moment because I've sent so many clubs up to Scotland for our pop-up store at the Scores Hotel, but there's a few gaps in it. And it's always being updated, and some of the clubs are at home and some of them are here. But I suppose some favourites. I'm looking for the old. There it is. I don't know why I had such a soft spot for this club. It's the old original. Well, it's it's not the original Big Bertha. So the Warbird came after the Big Bertha, and the Warbird had more of a. It was like more hollowed out here, so it's a more extreme shape. The amazing thing about these fairway woods, what I didn't like about them was that when you got them, you couldn't do anything to adjust the way they sat. But these things, as fairway woods that you would hit off the deck, were absolutely incredible. And the best ones were the 4+ and the 3+. So I've got a few of these. This is a tour issue one with the old so they've got the old RCH 36. Says R&D prototype on it. And the 4+ were like a smaller head, so 5 wood head, 3 wood loft, but they sat a bit better. And then we also had, these things, which, these were an absolute favourite on tour. Freddie Couples used one of these for years, couldn't get him out of it, and they're absolutely tiny, really amazing out of the rough, and just a lovely shape. And I mean, if you compare that to even like a semi-modern 3-wood, I haven't got one. That's amazing, isn't it? I haven't really got anything. I thought there was an old TaylorMade in here somewhere. Cathal's old. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So this is a TaylorMade fairway wood. Look at the size difference. It's fucking huge. But yeah, these are really cool. And a lot of the clubs that are in this rack, I would just think, they're just clubs that something pops into my head about. I just remember a club. I've always been obsessed with clubs. I can remember all the clubs that pros used and stuff like that. So something will pop into my head and I've just got to have it. And not even necessarily collector's items. You've got some Sonatex here. I've got way more than this in heads and stuff sat out there ready should I ever need them in the post-apocalyptic world where golf clubs have really gone down the pan, which actually is probably now. That's another great Callaway there. That's an old Bobby Jones. I was looking for that. So the Bobby Jones was before the Big Bertha and after the really tiny one. But it's great shape. This one, ooh, not bad. Doesn't sit great, but yeah, lovely. Really nice. I'll put that next to the Callaways. That's where it should be. In there. And then some other clubs that I really like. There's a few drivers in there. Don't really have as many drivers anymore. Just because I'm pretty settled on the driver. Few persimmons, a lot of these are away at the moment. This thing is just probably my most treasured club. This is a Mizuno World Master. So the Mizuno World Masters were made when Mizuno not being able to get tour players to play their woods has been a problem for years and years, I guess. But the CEO, the main man at Mizuno, was a bit upset that they couldn't get tour players to use their persimmon woods, and he bought the best persimmon farm in the US. And you'll see here on the toe there it says USA Persimmon. When I was a kid, I managed to get on the Mizuno tour van at Wentworth when the tournament was on. And was sort of having a look around, and I remember seeing these. I remember seeing Faldo's ones, and just thought they were beautiful. And that's always stuck in my head. This particular one was a one-off that was made for David Duval, so it says DD277, which I think was when he shot the 59 and won that tournament. I think his total score was 277. I don't know, something like that. It's really beautiful. It's a beautiful finish. It's like a sort of dark ash finish, and it's got this sort of carbon insert, so it's probably quite a modern persimmon. I don't hit it very well. It's sort of the right weight and the right shaft, and I've got the grip where I want it to be, but I don't know, it just hasn't got enough loft. Can't really hit it, but that's good because that means I don't use it and wear it out. Really love like these old Titleist PTs. quite a lot of those are out. They're up at St Andrews. Putters, do a bit with putters, but people tend to always borrow putters and they end up getting taken away by people and don't really see them again. This one's a bit of a belter. This is an old Scotty Cameron Napper. So this is the original, well, not the original, but when Titleist first started to team up with Scotty Cameron, this is what Scotty Camerons were like. And actually this was a production putter, but this is a limited edition one, so first run, 1995, they made 500 of these as a first run. And what was amazing was that when these came out, they were just gorgeous, but I think they were over £200, which is unheard of for a putter. So it really raised the bar for putters. And they rusted, you know, they were carbon steel and they rusted, and then now they've moved towards stainless steel just because I guess people would complain. If you kept them oiled, they wouldn't rust too much. But these are literally, the production putters back then were like the ones that people pay thousands of pounds for now. They were making production putters back then that were as good as the tour putters are now. And it's a shame because the production cameras are nowhere near. They're still really great, you know, they're still great, low tolerances and beautifully made and better than most of the other stuff out there. But, you know, this is how they were when they first came out. Interestingly, I go back to using I don't use this one much, but I've got a Napper somewhere, limited edition one. God, where's that gone? It's around somewhere. But that's the one I would use, same shape as this. I use that if I start putting badly, so I go the other way. Start using a putter which is more difficult to use because it makes me strike the putts properly, makes me kind of hit the ball into the hole rather than being too obsessed with lining up, trying to make a straight stroke, which I don't think is the way forwards. Loads of wedges, but again, a lot of the wedges are at home. You know, wedges are really interesting. Sole grinds, different shapes of sole grinds. Some of these I'll have done myself, and some of them will be done by other people like Don White. You know, some of these early Titleist models pre-Vokey that were done by Larry Bobka, and they replicated the grinds that and the shapes that he came up with for the pros. So this one is the Elk that he did for Steve Elkinson. It's a lob wedge with like a really rounded leading edge. It's pretty horrible for hitting full shots. It's got a big wide sole and a lot of camber. So with full shots, it doesn't dig into the turf. So like, forget the loft. I mean, the loft is obviously a factor in how far you're going to hit it, but with that sole, it's very hard to hit it a long way. The club just like skims under the ball, which is quite good. You can hit it flat out from 60 yards. This is the one that was the Davis Love one, which is a 54 degree. Again, like a traditional shape. These are really nice. They're really like artisanal and handmade. When they were a production club, don't know how they did that. It's when they were still forging clubs in the US. Hoffman Forge, I think it was. And yeah, loads of Muras, a couple of old Mizunos from years ago that I would have used when I was an assistant pro. Knobbing about. Loads of blades, but a lot of my blades, I got these recently. These are pretty cool. These are a set of MT Tawneys, R58, so it's the classic McGregor head that they would have shaped for Nicholas and stuff like that. These were the Japanese version, amazingly like really short. They've got the old Brunswick FCM precision shafts in them. They're a really nice set, could almost use them. Few mirrors, these were a set made by Don White, McGregor, Tawneys. Like a very sort of hint of cavity there, really sort of straight leading edge. That's what I really love. That's like the old Jack Nicklaus thing. I love the diamonds up the side of the face. These are a really nice set. I used these for quite a while. I reshafted them, put the modus in there, got the half core grip. So I rebuilt these. They're never any good when they turn up, never up to the standard I want them to. So if I'm going to use them, they have to be rebuilt. I would never buy a set of clubs off of eBay or whatever and just take them out and use them. If I use it, it's got to be rebuilt. Set of Cleveland Vass down there, we'll talk about those another time. You know, a few sets that like these I had to have. These are a set of Ram Tour grinds, just gorgeous clubs. These I could almost take out. 6.5 Brunswick Precision, that's about as close as it gets. These are the clubs I used when I was about 12 years old, 13 years old. Dad got me a set of Pings, I hated them, so I traded them in for a set of these at American Golf, somewhere in North London. Yeah, loads of stuff in here that it's more about memories and nostalgia than anything else. This is a beautiful head. Thinking about putting this back into play. Titleist 983E. small head, deep face, beautiful, like beautiful pear shape to it, with the classic Fujikura 757. Great shaft. I think this shaft would still perform in today's world. I don't think you'd lose anything with that. But yeah, I might take that out for a little whack at some point. This amazing, ooh, easy. Last one. This is a tour issue head. So TaylorMade R300. This is like TaylorMade really kind of getting back into the fold after a few years in the doldrums with the old burner bubbles went well, and then after that there wasn't much. But you know, this is illegal. So this is when a few drivers were made that were over the limit, and then they made the rule. So when they introduced the rule about the COR and everything, they said that you could carry on using these drivers for about 5 or 6 years, and then they would become illegal. But it's a beautiful head. I mean, if you were to sort of say, you know, if you were to request how a head was going to look, you would struggle to beat this. It's an 8 degree, and it's illegal, but I don't really notice that it comes off a face that much quicker. Not really sure how much sense there was and all that. But yeah, that'll do, mate.